This is David Harrison Greis of the Greis Report, and tonight I have a couple of different really interesting stories. The first one comes from my own network. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the platform Threads. It is run by Meta and Instagram, so please keep that in mind if you are going to be using that platform. However, we are very active on there as part of the Resistance, and we do have a lot of information being passed around on there that is very important to the rest of the Resistance network. So the first thing comes from one of my colleagues. They were telling me about a rally today for the Hmong people that were detained by ICE at the end of July. This was going to be taking place at 5:30 p.m. at the Lansing State Capitol in Michigan. I have not yet had the opportunity to check back in on this. I will be following up, and I'll be reporting on that later this week. The next source comes from ABC7. This was here in New York City. The concentration camp at 26 Federal Plaza. People are finally getting smart to it, and they're starting to rise up against it. They want to actually find out what's going on there, and they're demanding access. And even our local politicians have been demanding access, and they've been refused access. And a couple of them were even trapped inside one of the immigration detention centers today in Brooklyn, and I'll be including that link in the description. The last thing I'm going to be talking about protest-wise is going to be the Illinois protest. This came from my own network of individuals that I know on the platforms that I'm on. There was a protest in Illinois because Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, was going to be giving a speech in Illinois today, and they were going to be protesting outside of that, of course, against the ICE immigration raids that she's one of the leads of. So if you like what you're hearing tonight, please remember to like, subscribe. Down here, we have an email address, thegreisreport@gmail.com. That's thegreisreport@gmail.com. We are happy to take any leads, tips, story requests. We're always happy to engage with our viewership, so please do utilize that email address. Next story comes from the AP Newswire. Mad King Donald Trump, because that's really what he is at this point. We could just compare him to King George, because he's a mad king. He wants to undo some massive protections in place for children in concentration camps. Number one, children don't belong in concentration camps. Number two, children don't belong in concentration camps. I don't think I have to repeat it a third time. Unless Donald Trump is listening, then maybe I do. So the Flores settlement, and I'm going to include a text box on what that is. The Flores settlement was an agreement that was reached in the 1990s to protect individuals being detained at the border by Customs and Border Patrol. So CBP, ICE, any of the acronyms that are out there chasing people down right now, they're only supposed to hold children for 72 hours maximum, and they're supposed to be in safe and sanitary conditions. The Mad King, Donald Trump, King George, wants to undo the Flores Agreement, and he has actually petitioned a district judge in LA, Dolly G, to remove the Flores Agreement. Dolly G has remained skeptical of this, and I don't have an update yet because I believe this is still being litigated. It's still in play. We don't know what the outcome is yet. However, just think about the impact. You have an entire generation of children, immigrants, trapped in concentration camps, and now they have no protections. And the last thing that the Flores Agreement does is it puts in place a third-party watch. There needs to be an oversight committee that's actually going to be inspecting these facilities to make sure they are up to code. Unfortunately, if this is done away with, no third-party access, probably no first-party access, because it's a concentration camp and they want to keep everybody out just like they're doing here in New York. Final story I'm going to talk about. This one's also really in play because we don't know what the Mad King's going to do. He makes a lot of threats he doesn't carry out on. He threatened to take over DC. And he did that just recently. This was in response to the Big Balls epicenter epidemic that we all know about. Because that's really what it was. It became a media epidemic of like this whole frenzy regarding Big Balls. So whatever happened there is irrelevant. It's all about the fallout now. So Mayor Muriel Bowser has stated multiple times that crime is actually decreasing and has the statistics to show it. We know Donald Trump likes to fire statisticians who don't agree with him. So how do we trust his numbers over the mayor's numbers? I don't trust his numbers over the mayor's numbers. So the way that I'm looking at this is he just wants to take over DC, and that he'll use any excuse to do it. Because he's also said this about New York City, and I've reported that in the past. Now, as of today, that presence has not materialized. However, we know how these things work. Sometimes it can take a couple of days to really mobilize all of the assets that he wants to utilize, or maybe he's bluffing and he won't do anything at all. So we'll be following up on this story as well. Thank you for watching. My name is David Harrison Greis. This is the Greis Report, and I hope you have a great night.